How's it going, guys? Steve here from the Ouija brothers, and we are going to talk about the infamous spirit box. This is the Radio Shack 12587. I know there are other types of spirit boxes out there. We have worked with other spirit boxes like the PSB7. Oh man, you know what? There's so many different type of models out there, but that's the only one we own. So they all pretty much work the same. You know, some scan at different speeds, some are slower, some are faster, some kind of cut out the radio responses a lot more. But we've seen it all, we've heard it all, so I think our opinions pretty much can carry over to those other spirit boxes. So before all you guys start going, oh, you know, these spirit boxes work different, you know, you didn't cover this, you didn't cover that. Listen guys, we've heard them all, we've listened to it all, and pretty much the concept is the same between all of them. It's not really going to be a debunking video in a way, because it's so hard to try and debunk a spirit box, because I mean, I have thought of ways of how to try and debunk it, but it's so hard, you know, it would have required so much time. But what I wanted to do was do a spirit box session for about 10 minutes, record it, and then try and get every single radio station and record all them during the same 10 minutes and use the frequency numbers on the spirit box. So when I do hear so-called replies or responses, I could have like synced them up to those radio stations and see if I could actually pick up them words. But it's so unrealistic to try and do, so I had to knock that one on the head. But it don't matter, because, you know, me and Griff's opinion on them are pretty similar, to be honest. So I'll just be taking the lead and I'll just be rambling on about them. So there's a lot of people that full on believe spirit boxes. They believe that it is the gateway to talk to spirit. A lot of people think you can talk to family members, the dead celebrities, you name it. That thing can do it, according to a lot of people. There's also a lot of people out there that just don't believe in it. They just think it's just the radio, it's all total garbage. What you're listening to is just radio responses, and you're linking some of the responses, you know, to pareidolia. You can hear what you want. And me and Griff, our opinions on it are pretty mixed, to be honest. I think it's a bit of a mixed bag between both of them, between both of those of opinions. That wasn't an EVP, by the way. That's my little son just coming downstairs. I'm going to show you a few examples of some of the responses that we've actually caught over the years, and some that me and Griff find pretty interesting, to be honest. And we'll just talk about them. So here's the first clip. This was taken from the village church farmhouse. So I'm going to show you right now, and then I'm going to talk about it. So here it is.
Is there any men with us? James.
I did hear James then, yeah.
Have you got a name who was speaking to me on the spirit box?
Acid.
Edith. We believe that we picked up two names in that clip. We picked up James and Edith. Now, when we went into that house, when we went into that property, the ladies who run it said that there's 4 names attached to that property, and there was 4 pictures or 5 pictures behind us, and they told us that they were people that lived in that house. And she said, if ever you pick up any names, just come and tell us at the end of the night and we will tell you. So then with the 2 names we picked up on the radio, on the spirit box, which was James and Edith. And at the very end of the night, the ladies asked us, they said, what names did you pick up? And we said, well, we picked up James and we picked up Edith on the spirit box. And they were so shocked, and they said, the two people on that wall, those were their names. There's a James and an Edith on there. Now, I think that's pretty interesting. Very interesting. Can I 100% say that that was 100% spirit communication? I can't say that it is. I can't 100% say. But it's a good coincidence. How do I debunk that one? How do I debunk it? Were we just totally lucky and it was just the coincidence of those two names got picked up on the radio at the exact same time when we asked, and we just got very lucky? It's a possibility. Or was it their spirits coming through and they told us their name? It's one of those where we will never know. We just have to leave it up to you, to guys, you know, to decide what you think it was. But I don't know really how else to explain that one, because he was very good, and it's one of the times I always think of the spirit box, and it's that example that I just showed you that makes me question, is it just radio responses? Because if it is radio responses, that was amazing timing, an amazing coincidence. I mean, if we had just picked up the one name, then you could maybe put it down to, yeah, maybe it was just radio. But to pick up two names when we asked for two names, you know, me and Griff are kind of in the middle. You know, we're quite blown away with it, but we're also quite skeptical of, we know the possibilities that it could just be radio interference. So it's always a question mark, you know, always put a question mark over a lot of these responses, you know, because a lot of the times we do think, if it's too good to be true, it usually is. That could be another one of those moments. But I don't want to totally disregard it, because I can't totally disregard it. I have to talk and tell you guys what I really think about it. And what I really think about it is, maybe that was an absolutely amazing response. But then there's that other thing in my mind thinking, it could just have been radio. So I'm quite split. So let us know what you guys think about that response. Now I'm going to show you another example. We were at a church and Griff asked if God was real. We've shown this clip quite a few times, so here it is.
Is God real?
Yeah.
Spirits?
Oh my God, that was the clearest yes I've ever heard, I think, on a spirit box.
Followed by a spirit?
Yeah.
So what's pretty interesting with that one, and what I do want to talk about that response, is I'm a bit more skeptical over that one. At the time, when you're doing these spirit box sessions and you're in the dark and you're kind of in the moment, your excitement can get the better of you. And when you do hear these responses, it is like, you're like, whoa, you know, flipping hell, man, that's crazy. But then when you kind of settle back down and then you try and look at it from more of a logical point of view, you can kind of start to see, or think, I should say, was that one of them times where it was just total fluke? That the radio just said yes, a lady come through the radio and it was just radio talk and it just said yes to us. That could have been one of those times, to be honest, because let's face it, a lot of the time when we do these spirit box sessions, you ask the questions, most of the time you do get radio talk, and a lot of it just, none of it makes sense, but sometimes you can get lucky and you can get a response through the radio that can be linked to your what you've asked, to your question. I think it's so easy to get carried away and go, oh well, that's an actual answer to what we asked, where in fact you've got to look at it as, maybe, you know, it's kind of like how mediums work, you know, they will throw so much stuff at you and a lot of it you'll miss, like you go, well, that's not relevant, that's not relevant. But sometimes they will get something that is relevant, and most of the time it's that one that sticks with the person's mind and go, oh well, they got that right. And you're like, well yeah, they did, but how about all the other ones that didn't make sense, that didn't connect. Look at the spirit box in the same kind of way, and I think that response, I'm quite open-minded to think, you know, it could have been radio talk. I don't want to sound like I'm coming across too negative or trying to debunk the entire thing, because like I said, you know, because me and Griff, we're quite open-minded about the spirit box. You know, we're 50-50, but I just want you guys to know what you do here. It's impossible for us to know if it's spirit or if it's radio. I'm going to show another example here of where we do 39 Degree Street. So here's another example.
Come on, just come and talk to me. I'm not going to hurt you.
Jason has a question.
Let's say Jason has a question for you.
So as you can clearly hear, it says Jason has a question for us. And it's amazing, to be honest. It's really good. But I think it kind of falls into that other, you know, the God is real kind of context. Was it just radio, just saying, oh, Jason has a question for us? You know, maybe they could have been on the phone. You can't disregard it. You can't say it isn't radio, because it could be radio. A lot of people will look at that and go, wow, that's amazing spirit communication. I think that's the worst way to kind of look at it. Because you know what, it's one of those where, again, where we will never ever know if it's spirit or radio. So just always kind of take it all with a bit of a pinch of salt. But again, we show it on our videos so you guys can make up your own mind. It's certainly interesting, but by no means do we think that is 100% communication. This next example though, it's quite a weird one, so I'm just going to show it.
So I got that list, and something about greetings.
What?
That was a noise.
It was like arsehole.
I don't know if you said, well, you
I'll
had
have
it.
to look back on that. That was
But
mad.
that wasn't even scanning.
No, and it wasn't scanning.
So as you can hear on that video, it just, what it sounds like, it just comes over the radio and just says arsehole. You know, that's what we think it says. Now what makes that interesting is the radio wasn't even scanning at that point. It had actually stopped scanning, and you can hear radio talk, and then that just kind of come over the top of it. Now I find that pretty interesting, to be honest, that it said arsehole. But again, these radios can pick up anything. It could pick up, you know, phone call conversations, you know, audio bleed out of other receptions that are going all around the world and in the air and whatever. So you've got to take that into consideration as well. You know, it is an aerial and it is a radio, and there's so many frequencies and everything all out there. Did something just bleed into, you know, bleed through into our response then and just shouted arsehole? I mean, he might not even have said arsehole. I think that's another thing you've got to remember. The problem with spirit boxes also is, and it's happened to us many times, where we've heard a response and we've all heard totally different things. I've heard one word, Griff's heard another word, the audience have heard a totally different word, and when I edit the videos, I bring my girlfriend over, Laura, and I'm like, what do you hear? And she's heard a totally different word. So again, is that pareidolia? Because a lot of the time they're not clear, and you can kind of make words fit the bill, so to speak. And another problem is, you know, when you put them subtitles on the video, it's so hard to hear any other word but that. So, quite recently on our videos, I have actually stopped and skipped putting subtitles on Spirit Box responses, and I just want people to see and hear, you know, basically what they hear. You know, I've shown a few examples of some of the Spirit Boxes responses that we've caught over the years, and the ones that, you know, I think those are the ones that we find really interesting. I mean, we've got a ton more, but I'm not going to go through all of them. But do they actually work? I think that's up to the person using them, the person listening to them. it's not up to me to kind of say yes or no. You know, I've only got my own opinions about the things, and I think I'm very skeptical. I actually went from being a massive believer of the spirit box, you know, before doing all the ghost hunting, YouTube, whatever. I used to believe in them 100%, and I think over time, as I've used them more and more and more, I've kind of now gone more towards possibly, maybe not, you know, there could be other explanations for it. And you know, I think that's kind of the best way to kind of be, instead of just flat out going bollocks. And also I think it's not very good mindset when you think 100% they do work. I think you've got to kind of be in the middle, because the paranormal, it's all theories, it's all experiments, and that is just an experimental tool. I see a lot of people when they say that they want to do ghost hunting and the first piece of equipment they want to get is a spirit box. I wouldn't say it's necessary. Best thing you can get is a camera and your own body senses, because they beat a spirit box all day. A spirit box, in the words of Gary J, is flimsy evidence. And I do agree with it. It is flimsy because you can't prove that what you're getting is spirit. You can't, no matter how clear or whatever, you just can't prove that it's spirit, and you've always got to kind of remember that. But with a camera, the camera never lies, unless you do editing and Photoshop or those kind of things, then the camera can lie. But that's where you know, you've kind of got to trust the investigator on that part. We will continue to use the spirit box on all the investigations. You know, we've done it from the start, and we will continue to use it. But again, you know, I only try and show very small snippets of it because I don't like listening to it back myself. So, you know, we will still like put about 2 minutes worth of it in the videos just to show you, well, you know, this is what we possibly could have got. Again, make your own mind about it. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Hopefully you get to see now kind of like where me and Griff actually come from and what we actually think about the spirit box. I know other people wanted like a flat out inside story, or I don't know, like a full-on debunking of them, but it's pretty hard to debunk a spirit box. You've just got to use it and come up with your own conclusions. And I think, you know, me and Griff do feel the same about it. You've got to take it with a pinch of salt. I think that's what you've got to think about a lot of the gadgets. Same as the apps, you know, the paranormal apps. Take it all with a pinch of salt. None of it's proven, but also none of it's actually disproven either, you know. It's all theories. The spirit box, the theory behind it, again, the theory, it's not proven, and I don't think it will ever be proven. But it's a tool that we will always use. We'll continue to use it. So for people that do flat out just say, bollocks, you guys need to stop using it, you know, just see where we're kind of coming from. You know, it's an experiment. The entire night when we go on these places, it's just an experiment. And it could be a failed experiment, it could be a load of rubbish and we're wasting our time. You're more than likely right. But how will we ever know unless we don't really try? And we try to give you the truth. We try and be as honest as possible with you guys all the time, and hopefully you find this video, you know, useful. So anyway, I'm gonna leave you, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a like. If you didn't like it, give it a dislike. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, and yeah, we will see you guys on the next video. If you haven't, go and check out my EVP recording, EVP exposed video, and I kind of go into detail of what I think about EVPs and stuff like that. So hopefully you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one.